I remember the day so clearly, as if it's etched into my memory with a sharpness that never fades. Some days blur together, but this one stands out, vivid and unshakable. The sun was bright, casting golden light on everything around me, but I felt a cloud over my head, heavy and gray, following me wherever I went. It was as if the world was celebrating, but I was stuck in my own private storm. I was with a friend, someone I trusted, sharing a secret hope I'd held close to my heart for so long. It was a dream I'd nurtured quietly, afraid to let it out into the open. As I spoke, I felt vulnerable and excited all at once. My words tumbled out, full of hope and possibility, and for a moment, I believed that maybe, just maybe, my dream could become real. I expected encouragement, a smile, maybe even a little support. But instead, my friend laughed, a sharp, dismissive laugh that cut through my excitement like a cold wind. "You can't do that," they said, their voice flat and certain. "That's not for people like you." The words hung in the air, heavy and final, as if they'd closed a door I'd only just dared to open. Their words hit me like stones, each syllable landing with a dull, painful thud. I felt myself shrink, my hope bruised and battered by their disbelief. I stayed silent, forcing a smile, pretending it didn't hurt. I laughed along even though inside I was unraveling. I didn't want them to see how much their words wounded me. Inside I was crushed. My heart ached with disappointment and confusion. Why didn't I defend my dream? Why did I let their opinion matter so much? The rest of the conversation blurred into background noise. All I could hear were those words, echoing in my mind, replaying over and over, drowning out everything else. I went home feeling heavy, my hope walled in by their doubt. Every step felt harder, as if I was carrying invisible weights that no one else could see. For days, I questioned myself. Maybe they were right. Maybe my dream was too big, too unrealistic. I wondered if I was foolish for even hoping. This wasn't the first time something like this had happened. I realized I'd always let others' opinions shape my reality, letting their doubts become my own. A joke, a comment, a dismissal. I absorbed it all, never pushing back. Every little slight chipped away at my confidence, and I let it happen, thinking it was easier to just go along. I thought being agreeable meant being a good friend, that keeping the peace was more important than standing up for myself. I confused silence with kindness, but this time, the pain lingered. It was a wake-up call, a signal that something needed to change. I couldn't keep sacrificing my dreams for the comfort of others. I saw a pattern. People crossed lines, and I stayed silent. I let my boundaries be erased, thinking it was the price of acceptance. My silence was permission for them to continue. Every time I didn't speak up, I taught them it was okay to dismiss me. The problem wasn't just their words, it was my lack of response. I realized I was giving away my power, one unspoken word at a time. If I wanted respect, I had to do something different. I had to find the courage to stand up for myself, even if my voice shook. I realized I needed to speak up for myself, even if it felt scary. Even if it meant risking disapproval or awkwardness, my dreams deserved protection. That moment was the start of a new chapter. I promised myself I would try, even if it was just a whisper at first. I decided I wouldn't let others define my worth anymore. My value wasn't up for debate, and my dreams were mine to defend. I would learn to protect my dreams, to nurture them even when others couldn't see their value. And I would start by finding my voice. One word, one boundary, one brave moment at a time. After that experience, I realized something powerful, something that would change the way I saw myself and my relationships forever. We teach people how to treat us, whether we realize it or not. Every interaction, every response is a lesson we give to those around us. It wasn't always malice. Most of the time, people just didn't know my boundaries because I never set them. I assumed they would just know, but that's not how it works. If you don't show people where your limits are, they'll cross them without even realizing. It's not always intentional. Sometimes it's just a lack of guidance. I'd been a people pleaser for as long as I could remember, always saying yes, always laughing off what hurt, pretending everything was fine even when it wasn't. I thought avoiding conflict would keep people close, but it only left me feeling invisible, like my feelings didn't matter at all. The truth hit me like a wave. I was responsible for communicating my needs. No one else could do it for me. That was scary, but also empowering. It meant I had the ability to change things, to rewrite the story I'd been living. I could change the lesson I was teaching. I could decide what I wanted others to learn from me, starting now. I could show people how I wanted to be treated, not just hope they'd figure it out on their own. The first step was to look at my own behavior honestly, to see where I'd been letting myself down. I realized I was trading my well-being for a false sense of peace, sacrificing my own needs just to avoid rocking the boat. It was time to change the curriculum, to teach something new, something healthier, something that honored who I really was. I would start teaching respect and kindness by example, not just in words, but in the way I treated myself and others. I wasn't a victim. I was the teacher. I had the authority to set the tone for my own life. And I could start right away with small steps that would add up to big changes over time. The power to change was in my hands. I just had to be willing to use it, to take that first step and keep going. I just had to use it. And from that moment on, I promised myself I would. Boundaries are simply the limits we set in our relationships. Think of them as a fence around your emotional space. They protect your well-being and show others what's okay and what's not. Without boundaries, we end up overwhelmed, resentful, and taken for granted. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about creating healthy, respectful connections. There are different types: physical, emotional, and time boundaries. For example, you might set a limit on how late you answer work emails or ask someone not to make jokes at your expense. Boundaries are for you, to protect your peace, not to control others. You can't force someone to change, but you can decide how you'll respond if they cross your line. Setting boundaries is self-care and self-respect. It's about valuing your needs and feelings. When you set clear boundaries, you show up as your true self. That's the foundation of every healthy relationship. Putting boundaries into practice was tough. It felt unfamiliar, almost like learning a new language. I'd read about boundaries and understood their importance, but actually applying them in real life was a whole different challenge. The fear of disappointing others or being misunderstood made it even harder. My first real test came when the same friend called to vent, just like they always did. I could already sense the familiar pattern, me listening for an hour, feeling drained afterward. I had plans to relax that evening, maybe read a book or just enjoy some quiet time. But instead of automatically saying yes, I decided to do something different this time. I picked up the phone, listened for 10 minutes, then gently said, "I only have 5 more minutes, but I want to give you my full attention while I can." My heart was pounding as I spoke up for myself. There was a pause on the other end, and for a moment I worried I'd upset my friend. But to my surprise, they accepted it without any drama. When we hung up, I felt a wave of relief and pride. For the first time, I'd protected my time and energy, and it felt empowering. That small win gave me a boost of confidence. It showed me that setting boundaries didn't have to mean conflict or losing people. I started with little things like telling a family member, "I feel good in this outfit. Please don't comment on my appearance." It was awkward at first, but necessary for my self-respect. Not every attempt went smoothly. Sometimes people looked surprised or even uncomfortable. A coworker was clearly annoyed when I politely said no to taking on extra work. I could feel the tension in the air. My old instincts wanted to apologize or backtrack, but I reminded myself why I was doing this and held firm. Their reaction was their responsibility, not mine. I was learning to separate my feelings from other people's expectations. I quickly learned that people will test your boundaries, sometimes without even realizing it. Change is uncomfortable for them, but I realized that consistency is key. The more I repeated my boundaries, the more natural it became. Each time I stood my ground, it got a little easier. My confidence grew with every small victory. I realized I could be both kind and clear at the same time. Setting boundaries didn't mean being harsh, it meant being honest and respectful to myself and others. The world didn't end when I spoke up. In fact, it opened up new possibilities for healthier connections. My relationships started to feel more honest and balanced. I noticed more genuine laughter and understanding in my conversations. Setting boundaries was hard and sometimes uncomfortable, but it was absolutely worth it. I could see my own growth every day. For the first time, I was finally taking care of myself, and that made all the difference. Setting boundaries starts with self-respect. If you criticize or neglect yourself, you're teaching others to do the same. I paid attention to my self-talk and changed it from harsh to kind. I treated myself like a friend, not an enemy. Self-care isn't selfish, it's necessary. I scheduled time for rest, healthy meals, and things I enjoyed. When I valued my own needs, it became easier to say no to others. My actions began to match my belief in my worth. People noticed the change and responded with more respect. The mirror rule is simple. Treat yourself the way you want others to treat you. When you respect yourself, others follow your lead. Self-respect is the foundation for every boundary you set. It all starts with you. Setting boundaries doesn't mean being harsh. You can be clear and kind at the same time. Use I statements. I feel hurt when you make comments about my choices. This isn't an attack, it's sharing your feelings. Choose the right time and place for these talks. Stay calm, use open body language, and be specific. Instead of, don't be so needy, say, I need quiet time after work. Can we talk later? Offer solutions, not ultimatums. Practice makes it easier. Every time you speak up, you get stronger. Kindness and clarity go hand in hand. You can honor your needs without hurting others. When you set boundaries, people react in different ways. Some respect your limits and adjust. They're keepers. Others may push back or try to make you feel guilty. Stay firm and consistent. Their discomfort isn't yours to fix. A few will ignore your boundaries or punish you for having them. That's a red flag. These relationships may need distance or even an ending. Watching how people react is a filter for your relationships. It shows you who truly respects you. It's painful, but necessary. You deserve to be surrounded by people who honor your boundaries. Don't apologize for protecting your peace. The right people will stay. The rest will show you who they are. Everything starts with believing you're worthy of respect, right now, as you are. You don't have to earn it or be perfect. Your worth is a birthright. This belief gives you the strength to set boundaries and change old patterns. Practice self-compassion. Notice your strengths and celebrate your wins. When you make mistakes, remind yourself you're still valuable. Surround yourself with people and messages that affirm your worth. This isn't arrogance, it's healthy self-acceptance. When you're rooted in your own worth, you stop seeking validation from others. You carry confidence within you. That's the solid ground for a happy, respected life. Every boundary you set waters the seed of self-worth. You deserve to take up space and have a voice. Never forget it. Learning to set boundaries is a journey back to yourself. You don't have to fight for respect, you just have to expect it. Set the standard with how you treat yourself and how you speak your needs. Don't accept treatment that falls below that standard. Respect is as vital as air. You don't apologize for needing it. If a relationship is toxic, you have the right to walk away. This isn't selfish, it's self-preservation. It takes courage, and you may lose some people. But those who stay will respect and love the real you. The relationships that remain will be deeper and more fulfilling. Start small, set one boundary today, and celebrate it. Every act of self-respect teaches others how to treat you. Remember, you deserve respect, peace, and to be heard. Don't fight for it, just stop accepting less. Your journey to a more respected, peaceful life starts now. You are the teacher. Show the world how you want to be treated.